Hello everyone and happy Friday. Before we share my analysis from these last few days, please remember that neither I nor the SIMETRI team from Crypto Briefing are licensed financial advisors. What we provide is not a personalised investment advice. It is merely our opinions based on our various research and diligence. As always, do your own research before making any decisions about buying or selling crypto.
Okay, so let's get to the technicals now for Bitcoin. So for me, the key downside level is 45,000. That's a level that the market was unable to break this week, and we've obviously seen a rebound back towards that 49,000, 50,000 area. We are currently miles underneath the monthly pivot point, so I don't see a great need to mention that. The current weekly pivot point comes in at around 40,068. So rather 50,068. So do watch that over the coming days. And if we start to move past that weekly pivot point, we could see some strength towards 53,200. That would be probably the first target if we see both momentum and strength above 50,068, the weekly pivot point. And above there, if we start to really look bullish, then 56,000 is also a possible upside target, although my primary scenario will probably be some failure around 50,000. But, it's always best to keep an open mind, especially in this uncertain market. And over the Christmas period, where the market can easily be pushed around and is quite volatile. Daily price closes above 53,000. A series of them with some decent momentum and higher daily closes, even if only marginal, I think that'll be a bullish sign for me. Okay, so let's get to the charts and have a look at what Bitcoin is doing now. So I'm going to touch upon ascending wedge patterns in greater detail a little bit later on, but at the moment, I'm just going to draw your attention to this ascending wedge pattern on the 4-hour time frame. So basically, what we've seen is a break underneath this wedge pattern, a retest, failure, and another retest. So this is one of the reasons why the market is in such a critical point, because for my money, if we start to strengthen above there, the risk is then if we're back inside the wedge pattern, the risk is that we then test towards the top of the wedge pattern. Now that's the extremely bullish scenario, but I'm also letting you know that's why it's such an important moment for the market. So if we were to see another big rejection from here, it's obviously very, very negative. And we could also get a minor false breakout on a daily basis to say 50,000, and then we could drop off and close underneath here. So do be aware of both the size of the wedge pattern and also the location of the market where we're currently trading now. So we're very, very much in a critical juncture, hence why we're seeing some uncertainty towards the market as we're trading around this ascending wedge pattern. If we also look at the 4-hour time frame from a slightly different view, we can see this trend line that's been holding well in the market. So the market has broken above there. It's tested it again today, and we are still above there. So I think for me, another scenario that we could see out all the time we are trading above this trend line, the market could get the green light to test towards the 200 period moving average. As I mentioned earlier, it's a key metric. It's a bullish and bearish short-term marker for me very much, and that comes in around the 52,000 area. So we could get the green light to test towards there if we continue to hold above trend line support. So do watch out for that scenario as well. In terms of interesting trend lines in the market and areas that Bitcoin can gravitate towards. So what we are seeing at the moment is obviously the 200-day moving average. We had a series of false daily closes above there. Obviously, we're way above there now. So if we have a look to this significant trend line in the market, where once it broke underneath there, we saw a price crash. The market come up and tested it. It's come back up. Once it's moved back up there and fully tested it, we then got a new all-time high in the market. So as I am aware, we haven't had a retest of this trend line since we broke through the 53,000 level and obviously fell towards 42,000. So the scenario does exist where we could move back towards this key trend line, and that's coming in around 56,000, which I mentioned earlier as being a possible upside target. So this is really the extreme bearish the extreme bullish scenario for the market. And we also have got this critical trend line from the summer that's really denoted the uptrend in Bitcoin. It's been obviously a buying opportunity and a big breakout once we broke underneath there. And that's coming in as we project a few days forward, pretty much around that other trend line. So, the 55 to 56,000 area. So these are just areas that the market could move above if we continue to see some bullish momentum in the market. I will draw your attention to the fact that we do have this large head and shoulders pattern that does look to be playing out. So any type of rejection in the market around the 52,000 area or even the 53,000 area, we could easily see the market moving back down and really forming the structure and really looking bearish over the medium term if we start to form that. So it's very, very important what happens around the 52 to 53,000 area. If we were to break through there, then we can see a much more extended move to the upside. But if we get a rejection, I would fully expect to move down to 40,000, and then that really sets up the prospect of Bitcoin testing towards the summer lows around about the 30,000 area, maybe a little bit higher if we see some buying interest, and just slipping down there. So overall, I think it's going to be an interesting few days as we move into the Christmas holiday, and the market can easily be pushed around, and maybe the moves aren't going to be the true moves that we're going to see when we see the institutions and other whales return in January. So do be aware that the charts are telling me that there's a couple of scenarios, and do be aware, obviously, that the extreme scenario is a push towards 56,000. But I'd be surprised if we saw the full wedge projection play out and even a move towards 56,000. So overall, Bitcoin needs to anchor itself back above 50,000 over the coming days to really build on the upside momentum. Ideally, Bitcoin should not look back above 50,000, and the move should be backed by strong volume and momentum. And then in theory, Bitcoin could tackle back towards the 53,000 level, which was such a critical level when we saw the breakdown earlier this month, where we saw pretty much a capitulation towards 42,000 on near enough the same day after that level was broken. The potential still exists for a much deeper sell-off towards 40,000 due to the presence of that head and shoulders pattern that it is issuing a warning over the medium term that we could still see the bear case playing out. A failure at 50,000 and a move underneath the ascending wedge pattern that I've been highlighting today would probably be very, very technically negative, and we could see some lots and lots of heavy selling taking place. Okay, so let's move to Ethereum now. So Ethereum, we're going to have a look at this wedge pattern now. So basically, the market's tested this wedge. I've been highlighting it for a while, and in my daily newsletters as well. The 3600 area is very, very technically important. It's basically the kind of a marker where we see some significant selling if it was broken, but it's been managed to hold, and now we're pushing back to that kind of 4,000 level that's been so tricky for Ethereum over the last few days. So if we start to see some strength above the 4,000 level, then I think Ethereum's got a good shot at tackling towards the 4,400 to 4,600 area, which is unusual considering that we've seen a lot of weakness and uncertainty. But it just appears that it's not quite done yet to the downside. And this head and shoulders pattern here is obviously issuing a warning that if we was to see another rejection from the 4.3 or 4.6 area, if we get up there, then things could very much turn south again for Ethereum, and it's by no means out of the woods technically. And this pattern, I still believe it could play to the downside. And if we were to move underneath that 3,600 level, then things could quickly spill lower. So do be aware that all the time we're trading above the 4,000 level, a grind towards that 4,400 level seems highly probable to me, considering that what Ethereum has done, and we haven't seen the sellers under 3.6. So it just seems a natural area that the market could test back towards. And do be aware as well. So we've got this double top more or less in Ethereum. We can just come up and have another test around the 4,600 area if we have an extended move towards there. For me, I kind of favor that 4,400 level, assuming we don't get a big rejection from 4,000 over the next few days. So overall, Ethereum has held key trend line support from a wedge pattern around 3.6, and that's one of the reasons why we're seeing a technical bounce back. Bears need to be very careful with if Ethereum continues to stabilize above 4,000 US dollars. As mentioned last week, the rebound to 4.4 is still possible if the 3,600 level holds. the risk of a major extension towards 4.6 is also possible, so bear that in mind in these thin market conditions over the holiday. A large head and shoulders pattern is still looming over Ethereum, so while that pattern is not invalidated until we see a break above 4.850, then please respect that pattern in the background, because we could still get some heavy down moves in Ethereum.
And thank you. I hope you found my thoughts helpful. If you'd like more, please click the subscribe button for Pro BTC Trader and join me every week on Wednesdays for our live trading war room and daily email updates.